A reading from the first book of Samuel. All the elders of Israel gathered together and came to Samuel at Ramah. "Look," they said to him, "you are old, and your sons do not follow your ways. So give us a king to rule over us, like the other nations." It displeased Samuel that they should say, "Let us have a king to rule us." So he prayed to the Lord. But the Lord said to Samuel, "Obey the voice of the people in all that they say to you, for it is not you they have rejected me from ruling over them." All that the Lord had said Samuel repeated to the people who were asking him for a king. He said, "These will be the rights of the king who is to reign over you. He will take your sons and assign them to his chariotry and cavalry, and they will run in front of his chariot. He will use them as leaders of 1,000 and leaders of 50. He will make them plough his ploughland and harvest his harvest, and make his weapons of war and the gear for his chariots. He will also take your daughters as perfumers, cooks, and bakers. He will take the best of your fields, of your vineyards and olive groves, and give them to his officials. He will tithe your crops and vineyards to provide for his eunuchs and his officials. He will take the best of your manservants and maidservants, of your cattle and your donkeys, and make them work for him. He will tithe your flocks, and you yourselves will become his slaves. When that day comes, you will cry out on account of the king you have chosen for yourselves, but on that day God will not answer you." The people refused to listen to the words of Samuel. They said, "No, we want a king, so that we in turn can be like the other nations. Our king shall rule us and be our leader and fight our battles." Samuel listened to all that the people had to say, and repeated it in the ears of the Lord. The Lord then said to Samuel, "Obey their voice, and give them a king." The Word of the Lord. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. When Jesus returned to Capernaum, word went round that he was back, and so many people collected that there was no room left even in front of the door. He was preaching the word to them when some people came bringing him a paralytic carried by 4 men, but as the crowd made it impossible to get the man to him, they stripped the roof over the place where Jesus was, and when they had made an opening, they lowered the stretcher on which the paralytic lay. Seeing their faith, Jesus said to the paralytic, "My child, your sins are forgiven." Now some scribes were sitting there, and they thought to themselves, "How can this man talk like that? He is blaspheming. Who can forgive sins but God?" Jesus, inwardly aware that this was what they were thinking, said to them, "Why do you have these thoughts in your hearts? Which of these is easier, to say to the paralytic, 'Your sins are forgiven,' or to say, 'Get up, pick up your stretcher and walk'? But to prove to you that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins," he turned to the paralytic, "I order you, get up, pick up your stretcher, and go off home." And the man got up, picked up his stretcher at once, and walked out in front of everyone, so that they were all astounded and praised God, saying, "We have never seen anything like this." The Gospel of the Lord.